Hello, Tim here. This is a quick video version of a talk I'm about to give at the Going Green Marketplace in case of any technical or transport issues. Means I can't be there in person. So, here we go. I'll get cracking. Can the stories we tell change the world? Let me explain where this title came from. I've spent the last 25 years in communication, brand and culture strategy work. Over the past few years, I've focused that knowledge and experience specifically on working with leaders and their brands on the communication and behaviour challenges around becoming responsible, sustainable businesses. So let's explore that question a little bit more. Can the stories we tell change the world? So we know the changes we want to make. We know the environmental, humanitarian and societal challenges we face as a species. In fact, for most of these, we even know the solutions. We know the actions we need to take. But in many cases, we aren't. Or it seems at least we aren't taking urgent enough action. Why is that? We can look at recent reports like the C-suite study, which says that leaders of organisations are feeling overwhelmed and underprepared for the environmental and humanitarian challenges we face. And if those leaders referred to are representative, then we can intelligently assume this feeling of overwhelm is felt in wider circles, like amongst the people we know in our communities. So how do we help with that sort of challenge, help with that feeling? It's through developing a deeper understanding of the human need at the centre of that challenge that may or may not be spoken. You see, understanding and communication drive behaviour. And that's where story comes in. When we look to understand sustainability challenges, we are great at measuring and spreadsheets and data, but that knowledge and information doesn't really change anything on its own. We need to make it meaningful, and we do that by adding narrative. We do that by telling story of why it matters, why it's important, and why we should care. But that's not just my idea. It's scientific fact. So studies have been done and show that narrative or story stimulates every area of the human brain, the emotional, the logical and the somatic centres, compared to non-narrative information. But we've actually known that for much longer. We've known that since 330 BC, where a fantastic human called Aristotle first taught and practiced the art of effective communication and persuasion. He wrote about ethos or trust, credibility, logos, or pathos, which is emotions. So he looked at things like building trust, making people feel, and logical arguments like fact and figures. In 330 BC, we've known what effective communication is for hundreds of years. But yet still we face communication challenges with all of these challenges that we spoke about earlier. But that's just a snippet of proof that story is the vehicle we need to understand. But now I have some good news. You have the stories you need. Story has long been at the heart of how we communicate as humans, how we get an idea to stick in the mind of others, and how we get to make a change in the world. And you, I presume, are all humans. So these stories are within you. So let me give you a bit more practical ideas of what stories you can tell that will change the world a little bit. What about the trigger story or the origin story? The story of that moment of clarity, the reasons you choose to do good, about your purpose and why you care about it and why you think other people should too. The second is the stories of the good work that you do. Prove what you say in your purpose statement, in your vision, mission and values, and in your marketing is true. What stories can you tell of the impact you've made as a business, as a brand? So even with those two brief examples, without knowing what each of you do out there, you can see how you will have these stories that you can tell about the good work you do. So when you're communicating, when you got an opportunity to tell a story, we know from Aristotle, who we just got introduced to a second ago, we can ask ourselves, what stories can we tell that make people trust what we're saying? What stories can we tell that educate, inform and challenge people's perspective on a thing or get them to think? And most importantly, what stories can we tell to make people feel something? What stories can you tell about your business, about your brand, your products and services, your purpose, that make people trust, think or feel? You know the answers. I know you do. They're in there. And that's what the great thing about storytelling is, that we just have to be human and tell our story. We have a really short time frame for this talk, and especially short time frame to explore this question: can the stories we tell change the world? But in these few minutes that have just passed, I hope to have started to shift your thinking on the power of story to change the world. So I will come full circle and back to another report like the one we mentioned at the beginning, this time from the Business Circle, that states customers now expect brands, and more importantly the leaders of those brands like you, to have a stance, have a standpoint on these challenges that we face. So when you look at it, really, you have a responsibility as leaders, as business owners, as entrepreneurs, to tell the stories of the good work you do. So we might inspire others to join our mission as employees or customers, or do as we do and become a responsible business that is driven to change the world a little bit for the better. So this is just the top of the iceberg of this topic, of what we can explore about the power of story and responsible business. So my ask from here is to go forward, to take these little bits of learning, these few ideas, and create a story and start to tell it. Thank you.